If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard in Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place.
Everybody, this is PWZ. This is the Professor Rick Del Santo joining me tonight. As always, the DVD Freak. What are you drinking tonight? I'm drinking water tonight.
I got me a Bud Light Platinum and I got me some water. Yeah.
Bud Light Platinum. One of these days, I'm going to hit that up. I did find it in the liquor store around here. Just get to try it. I get super obsessed with trying new beer, especially when I go into like a gigantic liquor store, like I mentioned off air. That Cork and Barrel. I mean, they had this beer there. I know we're not talking about wrestling, but whatever. They had this beer called, it was like a plain white label. It looked like it had like a red stamp on it. It was called Drinking Beer Was Not a Crime. And I was like so intrigued with this beer can that I want to go back for it. It was like the most generic looking thing, like you bought it in like a shitty corner store type label back in the 80s or something. It was really bad looking. I really want to try it.
Yeah,
it was like
I'll try it. It sticks out. So I mean, you have a favorite beer?
You know, it changes. Growing up, I used to really like English ales, and I used to really get into like things like Newcastle and Bass. And then I started to get away from Bass as much. I started getting into things like Boddingtons. They only sell them like 4-pack, like the tall cans. But as I started working in this rock club, you know, probably 5 or 6 years ago, probably like the last year of its existence, and they had extensive collection of like craft beers and local beers and stuff like that. So I just started drinking like a lot of a lot of pilsners and lagers. So Jack's Abbey is like a really good one that I really like a lot by now.
Yeah.
Am I making noise?
Noise.
Yeah, is there technical difficulties again? Because
no, I think he sounds fine.
Okay. What about you? Outside of the Bud Light Platinum, is there anything else that you like to drink?
I like to try all kinds of different things. If I see a bottle I like, that's good enough for me to try it. When it comes to beer, I like Yingling, which is hard to find. I think it's more of an East Coast brew.
It's everywhere.
Yeah, they're expanding from what I've heard. But I think like Kentucky just got it, and that was like a big deal. But fuck Kentucky. But yeah, I love Yingling. I'll be some Budweiser. I don't care. You can judge me. I don't care.
You drive a pickup truck too?
What's that?
You drive a pickup truck too?
Yes.
Okay.
My little red dented up pickup truck with rust and 300,000 miles on it. But
no, I drink Bud every now and again. It's like one of those party things, you know.
Yeah.
Don't laugh. I'll go in a hot summer day. I'll end up buying Coors Light because I can't drink heavy beers during the summer. It's just feel it. You know what I mean? It's like Coors Light goes down like water, and
yeah.
Sure, during the summer you saw me drink more than my fair share of Coors Light.
You know what's a good summer beer? It's Land Shark.
I've seen it around. I've never tried it.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah. What do they have? Like Pilsners or anything like that?
Oh, I don't know.
It's just beer, man.
I picked it up. Yeah, beer's beer. I don't judge beer except Coors Light.
I'm going to have to try to get some of that Broken Skull. I'm hoping that maybe I'll try. I have some time tomorrow. That Broken Skull IPA, the Steve Austin beer. I really like it a lot. Like I said before, I don't really like IPAs. But this one was particular. Literally, it comes in 4-packs, anywhere from like $13 to $15 for the 4-pack. I drank 2 and I was like really buzzed. Like, I was really surprised because it usually takes me a lot to get drunk, unless it's the hard stuff.
Yeah, I've been wanting to get it to review it because like beer and wrestling, like that's like the ultimate competition
on Earth. Yeah, of course.
So yeah, I've been looking for it. I know a place that does sell it around me, but they said they only get it as a seasonal item. So yeah, I'm still actively looking, but
there's a place you can go online and punch in your zip code, and it'll bring up the liquor stores in your area that will carry it if they actually do.
Yeah, none of them have it. So
good luck to you.
Yeah. Yeah, around me in Pennsylvania, it's pretty hard to find. I know that.
I've only seen one store carry it in my area, and then supposedly another does, or so they claim to carry it. This other guy looked at me like I was insane when I asked for it. He didn't no idea what I was talking about, and he's working in the beer room as well.
Wow. What a tool.
Yeah. So is there anything, have you recovered from WrestleMania weekend?
Oh, yeah, that was exhausting. I'll tell you what. I didn't give my night 2 thoughts on this because I had to work Monday, and then I passed out Monday night because I had a bunch of martinis. I got this bartending kit, and I've been making martinis with it, and other mixed drinks. So
that's awesome.
eBay has everything you could ever want. But anyway, yeah, night 2, I think I enjoyed night 2 more than most people did. The women's tag match was worthless. I mean, what else do you expect?
I was really down on that match. I just was really bored. But you know what really bothered me is like the Orton Bray match, or Fiend, whatever the fuck you want to call him. I literally, turned it on, and then went upstairs to bring my son to bed. I know I mentioned this in the podcast earlier. By the time I got upstairs, it was over. The match went just under 6 minutes long.
Yeah.
That's a match that probably should have gone longer, and I just don't think that the whole storyline, they're just not doing the right thing. I mean, I don't like the storyline to begin with. I'm not really a fan of the Fiend character, and I've told you how it was ruined right off the bat, like, with the feud with Seth.
Okay. I cannot describe to you how much I hate the Fiend. I get hate for this. I don't care. It is the worst thing in wrestling right now. It is one of the worst things that I've ever seen WWE do in terms of failure of booking. I loved it when it first showed up at SummerSlam, 2018. So I was like, that's a good attraction. Just don't put the title on it. And what do? They put the title on it at Super Saudi Shit Show later in the year. And yeah, there you go. It's ruined. And because if you put the title on him, you're eventually going to have him drop the title. That's the problem with it. Right. Eventually, you're going to have to weaken the character. And it's just like The Undertaker. He was never really known for his title feuds because he was an attraction character. Like, right. If you look at The Undertaker's career, you'd think he had titles upon titles. He wasn't really that. I think he had the world title, 2-3 times max. Like, he was an attraction. He was that WrestleMania character, and you easily could have made him an attraction character who appears for every, quarterly pay-per-view or something, or has, a really cool feud. And I'm happy that match lasted 6 minutes. I'm happy that he lost because I fucking hate it beyond belief. I'm glad they buried him again. I can't take the Fiend anymore. It's just, it was dumb booking, but I'm biased here. I don't care. I hate it. So I was glad it got ruined.
So I didn't even see what happened on Raw the following night. Did you? Because I don't even know what happened to follow up with that.
No. I don't
know
anything that happened on Raw.
Yeah, I'm trying to catch up with I'm so burnt out from watching wrestling last week because it was on basically
Yeah.
9 days in a row, and you know, I tuned into a little something Tuesday evening, the first time since WrestleMania, and it's just been hard to sit down and watch. As much as I love professional wrestling, it's really hard to sit down after watching it 9 days straight.
Oof, yeah. I only watched WrestleMania both nights, and then I watched the Walter and Ciampa match, and that match was just
That was awesome.
Like, that's a dream match for me. Those are my two of my favorite wrestlers. I'd say Walter is probably my probably third favorite wrestler on the planet right now.
Right now,
and
yeah.
Anything he's in, I'm a slut for. I'll watch it. Like, yeah. And then when I saw it was Ciampa, I'm like, oh my god, like this is gonna be gold.
It was a great match.
That match was a masterpiece. I loved it.
Yeah, that was really good. It was hard hitting. It was, you know, it just, oh man, I'd love to see it again. To be honest with you, I would love to see it again.
That's a trilogy right there.
Yeah. That's the thing is, Ciampa's really good at doing matches that are trilogies too. You know, like he did it with Gargano, and those matches were just out of this world, like next level kind of a thing.
Yep. I was there for the last man standing match they had, which was one of the weaker of their matches, but it was still just
yes. I think it was the weak one out of the three. Yeah,
but it was still. I don't even like
what else?
Standing matches.
Nah, they're corny if you think about the. And then you know Edge and Orton had to fucking ruin it as well.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Was that like 47 minutes or some shit? Like.
Oh my god! I could have ordered 2 pizzas and went and picked them up, and you know, I would have still had another 20 minutes left.
I did like the ending of that match. It was there was some good storytelling in that match. You just didn't need to take a half an hour to build that drama. But
I think it was his first match back, wasn't it? Was that Edge's first match back?
That was his first singles match back after the Rumble, yeah.
Right, that's right.
Okay. So, what are your thoughts on... Because there's a lot of controversy because Edge is now the only person in history to win the Rumble twice and then lose twice. What are your thoughts on having Edge win the Rumble and then lose again at WrestleMania? Because a lot of people were rooting for him. Like, what are your thoughts on that? And where do you take Edge from here at this point?
It should basically be an attraction. You know, he's at that age, and I think that's really what they're kind of going for the most part. You know, he'll pop up for every so often and do his thing, but the guy's, he's not doing it for me. I'm not going to lie, I popped for his return because it was to me, it was unexpected. You know, I try to stay off dirt sheets during the freaking, you know, the days of shows and whatnot. I don't want any spoilers. I hate spoilers, so... I was actually really surprised when it happened, and it was really fun. The fans welcomed him, but after that, it's been kind of a drag, man. You know, it's just been nothing that I've been interested in, and I really didn't want to see him win against Roman and Bryan at Mania.
Yeah, I sent a tweet out whatever day that was, Monday, and I said, as much as I don't like Roman Reigns, he was the choice. You know, I'm a Daniel Bryan mark out the ass.
Yeah, absolutely. I hear you.
But even I said, Bryan should not win this. You know, it's just not. This is Roman's time. I honestly, this is a bold statement. Ever since like early 2015, we had what's called the Roman Reigns experiment. And that has failed year on year on year. I honestly think they finally did it.
When he turned heel, I said, I've been saying that he should have turned heel years ago during his babyface run. They kept pushing him. I said, turn that guy heel. That's how he's going to get over. That's how it's going to work. He's not a babyface. He can't be. He's not convincing enough. Put him out there as a brutal heel, and guess what? They do it, and it's working. It's one of the best things they have on TV right now.
Yeah. I remember watching that, and I'm like, they finally did it.
Yeah,
Like
I was
I think,
shocked, honestly,
yeah,
because I didn't think they'd ever actually do it because they've been taking so long to do it.
yeah, I was happy with the match. I think it could have went a few minutes longer. I think it clocked in at 22 minutes. I love me a triple threat match at WrestleMania. That's just one of my things. I
Yeah,
love triple threat matches regardless, and I thought that was a great structured match. I think Jey Uso got involved a little too many times.
that's another thing is that I called that too because every time that somebody gets injured, they get carried to the back. They're coming back out 10 minutes later. That's exactly what happened. He came out, and it's just one of those things. It's WWE so has this formula, and I've seen it. We've seen it as the fans over and over and over for the last 20 years, or they're keeping the same formula they had with the Attitude Era, just not the attitude, so to speak. It's like all the bookings kind of the same. They try to do all the same stuff. It's just not as crash TV or trashy that they had. It's just the same thing over and over, though, in a PG environment.
Yeah, I mean, like people like us, we're smart with the business, so we can literally call this beat for beat half the time. And I wish there was more unpredictability with it. Like, swerve me. Like, I want to be wrong a lot of the times.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
Yes.
Jey Uso, like as Alvarez said, they killed him at one point. The DDT to the steps, that should have been it, because then you're like, the fans can be relieved. They're like, all right, he's gone. Now we can have these three megastars, just having it out in the main event of WrestleMania. Right. And then they brought him back out, and that's just like, really? You brought him back out? Like that?
It's just tiring to see the same thing over and over and then have, I'm tired of the Jey Uso thing because it's just so predictable. Like you said, I like to be surprised when I'm watching a wrestling show. I don't like to sit there and be like, well, I already know this is going to happen. Like I already know this is going to happen. So it's annoying. It's boring. It sometimes leaves you uninvested in the product. You don't get as much. You're not going to react to it. You're not going to pop. I like to pop every now and again. Surprise me. I'll pop. I did when Brock came out during the Money in the Bank because I didn't see it coming at all.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, that was awesome.
And so many people hated that. I thought it was the most amazing thing. Is why? Because it was unexpected. That's why nobody knew it was coming.
I also loved when he came out and he had it as a boombox. Look,
that was great, right?
Brock Lesnar's an asshole, and I love him for that. Like, he is a jackass, and he knows he is. Like, I love Brock Lesnar. Like, not many people will say that nowadays. Like, I miss him. I wish, just like selfishly, I wish he would have showed up. Like, just kick Bobby Lashley in the face.
I think he's going to come back. Let's be serious here. He will come back. It's just a matter of time. Who knows? I mean, I can't say when, but I think he will definitely come back. If it is SummerSlam, that'd be awesome. Because they don't really have a lot of star power right now. And I mean, not for nothing. It's like, not that they really need a lot of I mean, they need some sort of star power so people will tune in if they're dropping. So it's like the live crowd isn't there except for this past week. It was the first time a live crowd was there in over a year. So, they need a star like somebody like Brock Lesnar to get that, that the viewers invested in wanting to watch it.
Yeah, and something else that was interesting, going back to that, it's like this was the first WrestleMania in a long-ass time that didn't have a part-time champion or even like a part-time wrestler in a main event spot. Like, this was legit your roster. Like, this was just your full-time roster. I can't name one part-time person off the top of my head that was there.
Bad Bunny? You're just going to consider that a celebrity wing?
Fuck the Bad Bunny. But, yeah. I did kind of like the bunnies hop into the ring. I hated it at first, but then I'm like, you know what?
I was like, I told you, man. I felt like, what the fuck? I told you, I felt like I was on an acid trip. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, but I just love the Miz, so I was like, all right, this is something he would do. But
yeah, that guy's just, him and Morrison have gotten on my nerves, like, and not in like they're supposed to. It's like go away heat for me. So,
but my point being, like, this was a WrestleMania, but I don't think it quite felt like a WrestleMania because it kind of felt like a SummerSlam or just kind of a pay-per-view that they happen to have at the stadium. I don't think there was really any huge money matches that people wanted to see. I do think the triple threat match, I loved that match, but I think the card was a little weak, and I do like some part-timers on my card, except Goldberg. You know, give me anything but him. We'll be good. I want that Brock Lesnar. I want the John Cena appearance where he's just roasting people. I don't care. Or, you know, just something. And there weren't that many legends that appeared either, like during like the cutscenes and stuff like that. Like usually you have more cameos. And given the circumstances, I understand why we didn't. It was just an odd WrestleMania because like it was what a lot of people asked for. Because I'm sick of hearing every single year, oh, they're just part-timers coming back for WrestleMania. I'm like, well, then don't complain when there's not.
you know what it's about is, you know, and you and I will probably agree on this. There's always got to be a special attraction match. Somebody comes out of retirement, or I don't want to call the celebrity, but, you know, that guy, the celebrity would get involved. But I think, like, you know, somebody comes out of retirement or a guy that's going to retire or something to that effect, you know, there's got to be some sort of attraction. Something that'll get the older fans or somebody to be like, hey, I'm buying this because Kurt Angle's coming out of retirement, or Kurt Angle's, it's his final match, or whatever. You know what I mean? There's got to be something like that involved. And this year, there was none of that. You know, usually everybody is like, oh, there's at least one special match like that. Like, there's going to be some sort of retirement, or somebody comes back for the evening. Like Cena, did Cena come back? It was last year? He had the cinematic match, right?
Yeah,
that last year.
Yeah, 36.
Yeah. So I mean, that part I missed. It just, that's why, like you said, it probably didn't feel like a WrestleMania because of something like that missing.
Yeah, and I will say, like, I think the only like big money match, there was only one match I was looking forward to. Well, two matches, but I was looking forward to the Rhea Ripley and Asuka match, which I was highly disappointed by.
Oh, really? I mean, I really liked that
they didn't
match.
give him enough time.
Yeah, I mean, considering the circumstances, I guess those two, they probably could have gone longer. I enjoyed the match because I thought it was one of the better matches of the evening, to be honest with you. I wasn't necessarily, I mean, it really could have gone either way for me. I kind of had a feeling that Ripley was going to take the title anyways because she was like, you know, she came out, joined the main roster and challenged her, yada, yada. So it was kind of like, it was right there written down on the paper that she was basically, you know, anybody, a fool can see that coming.
Yeah, that was the most predictable match of the entire weekend. But
yeah.
The thing about the triple threat match that did intrigue me, though, is for the first time in I don't know how long, I didn't know who was going to win. That could have went like one of three ways. Like, I legit had no idea. Like, I was literally just guessing. I was like, I want Bryan, but I think Roman, but it could go, I have no clue. And I give him credit for that. That was a really intriguing match. It really was. And I think it delivered. I loved it. I will go as far as saying I love the match. I did rewatch it because I was plastered Sunday night. But yeah, like, I really enjoyed that. And I was like, it brings the wrestling fan out of you when you just don't know what's going to happen. Like, it's nice once in a while.
Exactly. I was not necessarily, I was hoping that the title wouldn't have gone to Edge. I think they got stuck in the situation having to put him in a match for the main event because he won the Rumble. They didn't really know what else to do, so they ended up having to make it a three-way, I'm guessing, to try to help it, because personal opinion is I don't think Edge is delivering, so they kind of had to say, hey, they got to do something to try to drum up more interest in that match. And having Bryan enter is perfect. The guy is still immensely over, at least by Thunderdome circumstances, I guess. By the the fans in the Thunderdome cheering. So, it's a joke. I really thought that it could have gone to him because it supposedly his last run, so maybe he could have had one last run with the title, whether it be a week or two or whatever, but I think they really made the right decision. You see the crowd going nuts. Roman's getting really emotional when the crowd was chanting that he sucked and stuff like that. He seemed to really get into it. I don't know if he was playing the character or he was selling it real good, man. I thought it was awesome.
Here's what I would do, which is why it's not going to happen. You keep that title on Roman for years. You give him, like, I love long title reigns. Like the same
one of
thing
those
with Bobby.
old school,
Yeah.
the old school NWA title run kind of a thing.
Yeah, like, same with Bobby Lashley. Keep that shit on him until next year and have Brock come back, win the Rumble. I don't care. Like, keep that shit on him for a year. And with Roman, I think he should have. I never thought I'd be saying this because, like, I hated Roman Reigns, but now that he's a heel, he won it at SummerSlam. So literally, keep it on him for 2.5 years, longer than that. Have him win at WrestleMania next year, and then WrestleMania 39. It's a little obvious we're getting him in The Rock because it's the Hollywood WrestleMania. Have him beat The Rock because, yeah. But, have him beat The Rock, and that's that moment where he's the guy. Because, believe it or not, guys, a lot of people are going to hate to hear it, but he is the guy right now in WWE. Every era has a guy. Yeah, San Martino in the Madison Square Garden era. You had Hogan in the Golden era. You had, I'd say Bret Hart, New Generation era. You had Stone Cold, John Cena, and now you have Roman. Like, those are their list of guys. It may have taken a little while, but hey, we're here. It's working now. It's great.
Right.
Keep the title on him. Maybe, you don't have to have Paul Heyman with him the entire time, but keep him heel, keep the title on him, and save him for that big baby face that will eventually beat him. And then they'll skyrocket because they beat a heel Roman Reigns who's been champion for years. That's what I would do. Henceforth, it's not going to happen.
You know who I would, I wouldn't be surprised about the WrestleMania 39, him and Rock. Sure, I think that part will happen, but I'd like to see go against Roman, Damian Priest. And I think that, not right now, though, because Damian Priest has just gotten up to the main roster. He's made his name in Ring of Honor and NXT. Give him some time up in the main roster to do his thing and build him up against Roman. And I think that can be a good match for Roman. And he'd get the rub from Roman as well and show that he's actually a big star, that he could be a big star. Punishment Martinez, or Damian Priest, excuse me. Whatever you want to call him today.
Do you think there's anyone else? Let's say he is champion for a few years. Do you think there's anyone else right now that could get to that babyface status and then eventually beat Roman Reigns in that big match and then be that next big babyface? Or do you think it's, let's say, other than Damian Priest, let's say he's not around? Or do you think that we're just kind of waiting at this point still?
I think it's too early to tell because we don't know what the hell's going to happen by Royal Rumble. Be honest with you. I mean, the whole roster could be shaken up by this time next year. There's going to be new faces, I mean, Big E, that's a potential, but I think that's going to happen probably over the summer.
Yeah. What is he on Raw? Where is he?
SmackDown.
See, I don't want him beating Roman. I don't.
I wouldn't mind that. I really would not mind that. Well, I'd like to see Big E with a title run, with a WWE title run.
Well, give him the WWE title then, because I want to heel Roman as champion for the next few years.
Yeah, I don't want the whole what's that group, that title called? Oh, the Universal title. The whole concept of the Universal title is it's ridiculous. He's not the greatest wrestler in the universe defending against against the Thing and Hulk and all these people, you know? I mean, it's just corny.
Yeah. But talking about the rest of the night, we'll wrap up the night 2 talk here. But because there's a rant I want to go on here after this. But
oh boy.
I really liked, once again, I never thought I'd say this, the Riddle and Sheamus match was fucking great.
There was a lot of sloppy moments in it. There's some sloppy moments in it, but there was some fun stuff. Now, are you
to the finish?
Talking about the he goes for the springboard moonsault and he kicks him right, does the brogue kick and lands in his face?
Yeah,
he got up, and did you see the blood coming from his lip? He showed up on Raw the next night with a big fat lip.
Good.
That was, and you know what the best part about it was? It was blood.
Yeah.
Blood. I haven't seen blood on WWE TV. Well, I saw blood during the Cesaro-Bryan match a few weeks back where Cesaro split his head open by accident, but I'm telling you, more blood will make fans watch.
Yeah, they'll probably black and white it out.
We didn't get blood in the steel cage, but we got blood in the Sheamus Riddle match, so I'm satisfied a little bit.
Yeah, I did. I popped for that finish. That was cool.
I'm glad to see Sheamus get that win, though. Like I'm, you know.
I'll say this: throughout those 2 nights, you could tell everyone was trying a little harder, and I give them all credit for that. Like, this was not a modern WWE pay-per-view by any means. Like, this was considerably better, and a lot of that, not only the booking, I liked most of the booking, but just the performers themselves. Like, you could tell they were really trying to impress the crowd for the first time and put on a show. And a lot of the times they're just clocking in and clocking out, you know. Yep. But yeah, this overall, I thought it was a pretty damn good WrestleMania for what you had, for what we were getting.
I mean, we're considering the circumstances and the pandemic and the fact that it's the first show back with fans in just over a year. So, I mean, I think personally, and I grouped it together. I was talking about had the Guardian of Chaos on the other day. We talked about it. I grouped it as a whole. Out of the 2 nights, I gave it a B. I thought that was about fair for the entire as an event.
Yeah, I would give it a B. Yeah, that's exactly what I give it. Yeah, and even like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, they put on a pretty good little 10-minute match. And I'm really thankful Logan Paul didn't get involved till the end.
Me
and I
too.
will say that
yes,
he sold a stunner pretty well, better than Vince.
From what I hear, that we did not see the last of him, unfortunately. So I have a feeling there's.
Why'd you ruin it? I complimented it. Come on.
I'm glad that he didn't get involved because I really expected to be some sort of wonky finish because Logan Paul got involved. Logan Paul turned on Sami Zayn at the end, and then Owens turned on him. So it was, I like that. I mean, you saw it coming in the way that Owens just kept looking at his wrist after he held up his arm and stuff like that. It was just kind of, he's like, he's going to stun him. It was just like the delivery of that whole the look and stuff was pretty funny to me.
What would you say is the match of WrestleMania, both nights combined? Like, what was the best match?
The match?
Yeah.
My favorite match on the 2 days on the whole show was Cesaro and Rollins. To be honest with you, it just had this great match feel to it. And I really did like the main event of night 2 as well. So it's just untraditionally not my favorite style of match, a 3-way, you know. I like those matches. Those 2 matches, I mean, I could probably pick up 5 matches on the entire show that I would rank as being, you know, this would be just, if they put these 5 matches on a show, this would be a great show. You know what I mean?
Which is rare.
Yeah. Because I love Bianca and Sasha Banks. I thought that was a great match as well.
I said it. This was the best WrestleMania we've had in. I said WrestleMania 31. That was 6 years ago now. So I think this is the best WrestleMania in 6 years.
Yeah, they tried really hard with this, and I think they delivered.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, what are your thoughts on the next pay-per-view, WrestleMania Backlash?
Is that what they're calling it?
Yes. I shit you not. The logo is the WrestleMania logo, and then the Backlash logo below it.
I thought that was a joke.
No. Okay. You know what this proves? This proves everyone watching this, everyone subscribed to the cock, everyone who watches WWE, they think you're stupid. Because Backlash was always a pay-per-view name. They've been doing that pay-per-view since, 98, 99, whatever?
Yeah.
So, it was always implied that Backlash, because if you look up the definition of Backlash, it's, obviously it's consequences and, the butterfly effect of WrestleMania. So they think you're too stupid to understand what Backlash means, and they felt that they had to put WrestleMania Backlash in the title. That is proof they think you're stupid.
It's an interesting take on it. The Peacock. Let's talk about Peacock. We'll get into Peacock in a second, but that is just ridiculously stupid. Now, my other question is this. Isn't Money in the Bank normally after Mania? Or am I delusional here?
That was May last year for some reason, but that's usually a July pay-per-view. When it's, Inception was... I can look it up when it's actually...
In 2019... I went to WrestleMania, and then a month later, I was at Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I think that one was May, too. They pushed it, because it started as July. It was July for the longest time. And then they did move it up.
And if I remember correctly, this is how it went. It was... because I think that there was a time period that they just canceled whatever show that they might have been having. It was some sort of show that they put it off, and maybe that's when Money in the Bank happened? The one with Brock?
Yeah. Okay, so June 20th is not Backlash, Money in the Bank. So it's going to be the one after WrestleMania Backlash.
WrestleMania Backlash, huh? Jesus
but you see what I mean here? They think you're too stupid to assume Backlash.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
It's just
the Peacock, or the cock, whichever you want to say, is just... It's just a ridiculous. I hope Vince is happy that he got as many billions of dollars as he did, and Hunter and Stephanie and Shane and all y'all and Linda. I hope you're all happy that you got all that money, because you sacrificed a perfectly good network that people would watch. That you had all this great content on, to just being another part of some streaming service by a major corporation, included with TV shows like Saved by the Bell remakes and Punky Brewster remakes and all these fucking things, because you only got I can't even compare the amount of content of WWE content on the cock as compared to what the WWE network actually was. It's just another part. Now, the rumor is that all the other stuff is going to be up there in August with a bunch of other crap, but it just shows that they're not there to take WWE seriously as part of their network, in my personal opinion. It's just another way for them to bring money in, bring in another multi-billion-dollar company. I guess, from what I heard, that the WWE network was struggling for subscribers anyways. It only had 2 million or something like that.
Oh, it was less than that.
But there was a lot of really great content up there, and I was a member, and I loved, and I paid my $9.99 a month, and I quite enjoyed being able to go up there and watch old Mid-Atlantic wrestling from the 70s and 80s, or old World Class or AWA up there. Now, I cannot do that, thanks to the cock and the greed of Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
I was very against the network in 2014.
I was not. I thought it was an amazing idea.
I'm a DVD collector. That's what I do. Physical media. I still don't use any streaming services. But my biggest problem with the network is they're no longer selling pay-per-views, so they no longer have to try. And I feel like it's gonna be
that took the level down for quite a bit. Took the levels down. You know what I mean? Like
they're like, oh, we only have 2 matches announced. Guess what? You're gonna watch it anyway because we got your $9.99. Whereas pay-per-views and even like closed-circuit TV, like you had to basically beg people to buy it by getting a great match.
You had to sell that show. You had to sell that show every week until that event happened.
Yeah, because that shit was like $40, like pay-per-view, like. And if
when I was a kid, so you're a little younger than me, but when I was a kid, all the pay-per-views were $20, and then they were $25, and in your houses were the bargain ones. Those were the $15 ones.
Yeah, well, those were mostly trash, but
a lot of them were. Yeah,
I also just don't like that era, but yeah, so I came around to the idea. I used the Friends for a while because I was like, I don't feel like paying that, but I did watch stuff on there. The original documentaries were phenomenal, like the Chronicles.
They do a really good job with their documentaries. I got to give it that.
Yeah, I used to love watching that stuff, and then when they started adding territory stuff, I'm like, all right, I can get behind this. And ironically, when I'm enjoying it is when they take it away. And I haven't explored the network on the Peacock, whatever you want to call it, like whatever that is. I haven't
network on the cock. Yes,
I know from what I'm seeing, the navigation is terrible. There's no longer check markers and checkpoints for matches. Like it's a mess from what I'm seeing. I know a lot of people are bitching beyond belief.
Streaming live, you can't pause or rewind it. You can't start it from the beginning. If you go in, say if there's people like us that are doing a podcast, if we tune in late, we have to catch it wherever the fuck it is. We can't.
I heard about that. That's why I make sure that I watch the whole thing.
And it's upsetting because they did not. My opinion is they did not take enough consideration or care into doing something for the fans that paid for so long their $9.99 and that were dedicated fans and that were loyal fans to WWE and their network system.
Well, the problem is they literally pulled this deal out of their ass, and they're like, oh, in a few weeks, all the shit's going over. I'm like, this takes longer than a few weeks. And we see why it takes longer than a few weeks. They're like saying, oh, we'll have match markers and stuff by August. Like, what? This should have been, look, if you're going to do this.
Right.
If you're going to do this properly, take a year, convert everything over, take care of it. Add match markers, descriptions, categories. I from what I'm saying, I can't find shit on there. I also haven't really tried that much. I might look at it.
No, they should have done a lot of that stuff and taken care of it and then launched the network on Peacock.
They just because all the stuff.
Yeah, they basically said, okay, we're putting all this stuff over there. Guess what? You're only getting about a quarter of it. Not even. But I'm just using that as a number. It's and you're going to have to wait for all the other stuff. All the good stuff that you want to watch, you're not going to be able to watch. But maybe by August we'll have it uploaded and converted over. But they say August. I highly doubt everything's going to be uploaded over there. All those old episodes of Primetime Wrestling, the episodes of NWA World Championship Wrestling, Nitro, Thunder, all the specials, all that stuff. It's gone for now. And it's the old school MSG house shows. You know what I mean? The stuff from the MSG Network, Nesson, and all the Los Angeles Sports Arena, all gone for now. And those, I used to love watching those televised house shows, like the Garden and stuff.
And my biggest problem of anything, People, this has been the number one question I have ever been asked in my life. Probably because people know me well enough. I hate modern society. I pretty much hate everything they do, every decision they make, everything they say, to the point where I just ignore it the best I can because all it does is piss me off. Never censor history. Ever. Never edit it. Never. Look, I understand Vince McMahon's throwing racial slurs at whatever, SummerSlam or something, 2005. I get that. But that's a part of history. And someone, who was it? Was it Mike or Brian Alvarez said something? If you want to really bitch about it, use it as a learning tool on how not to act. That's not the way I look at it, but that's a way to rationalize keeping it there. Be like, this is the way the world was back then.
Right. And if you look at other streaming services like Disney, now there's a lot that Disney has not put up because of questionable material. If you look at that, or if you look at any movie channel, say you're watching AMC or something, there's always a disclaimer that comes up before the movie. And it always says this was made at a time, or this is not suitable for all audiences. But
I don't even do that, but that's how society is nowadays. But,
right, because people are gonna. But at least that's not as bad as taking a full match out of watching a pay-per-view, or taking Goldust off because he's got wearing makeup and he's wearing black makeup. Not only is he wearing black, but there's gold in there as well. So there's nothing wrong with this character. He's an androgynous sexual character, and you're ruining him. You're ruining the show. People are going to be like, well, this show does not have any flow in it because, I don't know, was there something supposed to be here? Come on now. We're never going to be able to see that on YouTube. Like, what's going on here? We've ranted about this since the launch of Peacock. I swear to God, I brought this up on every episode.
There is
It pisses me off that much. It pisses me off that much.
There is one good thing that came of this. And I'm starting to see it already. All this shit behind me, prices are going up. And I always said, in 2013, 2014, when the network was in talks, I got judged, because I had a different YouTube channel at that point. Everyone's like, ooh, your DVD collection's going to be worthless. I'm like, give it time. Something stupid's going to happen. And, oh, look, I'll start taking apologies in the mail if you guys want to start writing them, assholes. I'm serious. Like, I'm high, right? I'm high on this right now. Like, I'm kind of happy because I was right. 8 years ago when the network launched, or 7 years ago, whatever the fuck, 7 years ago. So, like, yeah, I'm pissed about the censoring, but my views are up, and DVDs the prices are inflating because you now can't watch WrestleMania 6 in its original format on a WWE licensed network, or licensed out. Yeah. You now can't watch SummerSlam 2005 or wherever Vince pulled his little shit. But there's so many things. Every day, there's a new list of things being edited that'll pop up.
Yeah.
Like somebody found this or this. So, yeah, like people are scrambling around trying to recollect the DVDs they sold back in 2014. I literally had someone message me saying, like, hey, I sold my DVD collection. How is the cheapest way to get it back? Like, people are doing this. I'm getting messages about it, and I'm just like,
dude, eBay is a place, but I'm going to tell you something. I used to be able to go on there and find, and you're right, I'm going to tell you, you're right about something. I used to be able to go on there and find DVDs for like $1 or $2 or $3. You know what I mean? Sometimes people used to group them together and get like 10 DVDs for like $20 or $30, depending, what they were or whatever, if anybody was watching them. And I used to sit there and I'd watch the auction, literally, and then I'd bid at the last minute and get it for the cheapest price possible.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I have noticed hunting through eBay that when I do go now and search, things are a lot more than they were just a few months back. And I used to hunt a lot on there for DVDs.
Yeah, same with TNA DVDs recently. Oh my god. Because the business they're doing with AEW right now, TNA DVDs are insane. I'm getting people messaging me all the time. They're like, why are TNA DVDs so high? I'm like, literally, it's probably just because they're doing business with AEW. Well, it's not TNA.
Their streaming network sucks balls on top of it. So it's like
I used it one time. I didn't think it was that bad. I did the free trial because I wanted to watch some old TNA stuff. It wasn't terrible. That was like 4 years ago though. So
yeah, a new one launched last year. They did it. So the first one I thought was better a better navigation, and they had like a whole I mean, not that they don't now, but they had a whole section for indie stuff, and now the indie stuff is like different. You know, it's not the same stuff. I guess they maybe the license expired or whatever, but it's not nearly as good because back then I think you're referring to the Global Force Network or something like that. It was GFW Network or something. This is like they redid that whole app over and just changed it to Impact Plus or whatever the hell. And a lot of times when they do like exclusive live events for the show, they don't even take care into producing them. It's like watching a shitty house show with like the audio levels are really off. The commentary is like either really loud or just really low. It's no in between, like you're actually watching an event ever. It's just they don't take care of that, like production wise for that. But it's like, you know, I hope that one day that they will. You know, during this pandemic, I have seen some improvements, but the navigation is not that good. Whatever happened to all the old TNA explosions? There's only like the last 2 years worth of episodes up there. It's like, dude, that show was in existence since the beginning of TNA to begin with. Now, you know, I'd love to go back and watch some of those older ones.
Yeah, because remember when they did the weekly pay-per-views? Were those on there too? Like 2003?
Those are still on there. Yeah, those are still on there.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think. I used to love TNA, but whatever.
I used to get those when they were the NWA TNA. I used to get those all the time. I'd order them, and then I bought a Scrambler just so I could watch them. So
nice.
The other thing is that what was the show that they had on Fox? Do you remember? Fox Sports was very short-lived. I think it was TNA Impact Wrestling or something like that. And it was just, God, I'd have to really look it up. But that was the first time when they started using that six-sided ring, and it was like a really small arena. They did the recordings from Universal in Florida?
Yeah, it's Universal Studios.
Okay, that's where they were recording it, I believe.
The Impact Zone.
Yeah. Impact Zone, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, those shows were kind of all right, but you could just look like watching like bad WCW stuff. Like, that's how it was.
What were your thoughts on the six-sided ring? I don't think we ever talked about that.
I despise it. I hated it. The first time I saw it, I was like, what the fuck is this? It's become one of those things. It's become like an indie-rific thing, you know? That's my new favorite word, by the way. So that's how I describe things that are just don't go too well while watching professional wrestling. And it just looks like something that any indie wrestler would do. Anyways, I couldn't catch to it. I mean, I liked 4 sides because it's like, but then the 6 sides is just like an extra side for them to, extra 2 sides, I guess, to whatever. It just didn't make sense to me at all. I know in AAA they were using one for quite a while, or maybe it was like an 8-sided ring. I don't remember. It was gigantic. I can't get used to it. Not my thing.
I used to actually. I thought it was funny watching Sting try to adapt to it, but
yeah,
or like a lot like Jeff Jarrett, a lot of the older guys like trying to adapt to it.
Well, I think it was Jarrett's idea, wasn't it? Wasn't it Jarrett's idea?
I think so, yeah, but you have to look at it this way. I think it was a genius idea because that itself was enough to make people like 6-sided ring. What the hell is that? Like, let's see what it is. Like, it was a genius idea. I would only like it if it was for like an ECW show. Like, I don't want to see a traditional wrestling match in a 6-sided ring. But if you want to put like hardcore wrestling in a 6-sided ring, go for it. But I don't know. It's just kind of
if you want to do something. Yeah, I guess if you want to do something different. One of the other things is that I heard that Hogan, when he came in there, he said like, because he had a lot of creative control for the company. I think he was very involved in booking and such that he said, "What the hell is this 6-sided ring thing? Just we're using a 4-sided ring because that's what professional wrestling is." Obviously, I'm not speaking word for word, but and I tend to. I'm just going to say this for the first time and probably ever. I agree with Hogan on that.
Yeah, but that's what your audience has gotten used to. Because let's look at it this way: they had an audience. They didn't have a general audience. They had their cult following,
yes,
and
exactly.
They liked that ring. So when you took that away, they're like, well, this isn't what we grown to love and know. And that's when I stopped watching, was like 2009-ish, when Hogan and Bischoff or whatever, 2010. I just gave up at that point. I seriously, I despised when they came in.
I watch Impact Wrestling every so often. I have to watch it on the Twitch app because I don't get Access TV. So when they go to commercial breaks on Access, they do something in between where there's supposed to be a commercial break on Twitch. Excuse me. Usually they'll do some sort of promo for Impact Plus where it will be like highlights or like a flashback match or something like that. You sit there and watch the old TNA stuff. You're right. They had a cult following and the crowds were hot. They were like on fire. And they were really into a lot of the stuff they did. It's just that they made so many bad booking decisions and so many bad, like, Vince Russo, well, I can't say esque, but because it was him, he just made. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm trying to, I'm trying to describe it right, but he just made so many bad decisions with that because he had even more creative. You thought that he had creative freedom in WCW. He had way more freedom in TNA. It seems like because he just did anything he ever wanted, and it sometimes made the product look bad. But a lot of the characters, the gimmicks and stuff, but a lot of the wrestling itself was just phenomenal. It was like so much better than anything WWE was doing at the time. And the crowds were into it. They had people that would come from all over just to go there.
And plus, we got the best thing out of it. Countless Brian and Vinny episodes of them just shitting on TNA. That is so entertaining. That's the best thing that ever came out of TNA. Was that?
Yeah. God bless them, though, TNA, because, I don't even know how the hell Impact is selling business, to be honest with you.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Because they're in obviously not since the pandemic, but they only draw like a few hundred fans to their arenas or whatever. And I think I saw them in 2018, Bound for Glory, and it was at a nightclub. So they can only hold probably like however many hundreds of people. Now they had to put a ring there. They set up a stage and then set up all these chairs and bleachers. So there's probably like 800 or 900 people there in this place. And I think I'm being kind of generous in a nightclub in Queens.
Well, I don't think you were here for this portion of the call, but I told Wrestling Rampage, we were talking about Impact TNA, and I told him I went to a house show for TNA one time. And it was we have a fairgrounds, like huge. We have the city I live in. We have the world's oldest fair.
Oh wow!
Might be the country's oldest fair. Don't quote me, but we have the fairgrounds here, and it's huge. We have this huge bleacher because they hold like top tier concerts there and stuff. So this bleacher itself could hold probably a few thousand, and it was literally probably like 80 people, if that.
TNA? For TNA?
Yeah, if that. And this was like 2015. Like,
do people have to pay separate from that for the fair, or was it just one of those things?
It was separate for the fair. I paid $15 for that ticket. I got to hang out with Jeff Hardy and Tommy Dreamer, so that was cool. That's the only reason.
That's unbelievable. That's really unbelievable.
It was horrible, and they had it dressed up for a few thousand, so it was embarrassing. And I don't. That was one of their better periods. Like, I started watching again in that period for a little bit, and it was good stuff. I liked EC3 as a heel champion. I thought he was great. I watched during his title reign.
I know they came up here to Connecticut, and I didn't go to that. But my friend did, and he said that it was actually a pretty decent crowd. It was at like a local concert hall here, and they set the ring up on the stage, and they had extra chairs on the stage surrounding the ring, and then they had like the regular theater seating as well. And they said there was a pretty decent crowd there.
Maybe Pennsylvania doesn't like TNA.
I'm surprised that Connecticut does, because anybody that tries to come in here never really got huge crowds. ECW did, but I know when the NWA tried to come here in '89, from what I hear, that they got relatively small crowds.
Damn.
Yeah, and that was at their 1989 was like their peak. It was like a really great period for them too.
Yeah.
All right, is there anything else you'd like to speak about?
We pretty much ranted about everything, so. Wow.
All right. Well, you know where to find the DVD Freak. If not, look in the description. Same thing for me. Now, there are some t-shirts available. They're currently 35% off until tomorrow night. Go check them out and support the PWZ. Thank you very much.